All right, so thanks again. We will probably take about the next, I'd say about 30 minutes to kind of walk through BadgeKit. And really where the idea of BadgeKit kind of lied is the fact that given the fact that the OpenBadges community is significantly growing, and we realized that there was a really much of a need for kind of an open source, lightweight type of issuing platform that could be used across the ecosystem. So whether, again, certain sections of BadgeKit needed to be used or the full suite needed to be used, there was just overwhelming kind of requests from the community, which allowed us to really shift our efforts starting after last MozFest in October to really building out BadgeKit. And the thing is with BadgeKit is it's actually not really necessarily new. A lot of the tools are built off of the badge system that we created last summer for the Chicago Summer of Learning. So a lot of the tools were already in use with that, and also a project that we did with the Department of Education called Connected Educators Month this past October. And so just a little background that a lot of these tools are really fine-tuned and have already had some place in the ecosystem, but we're really excited about ultimately what it means. And so each tool within BadgeKit is really meant to support the key stages. So through the creating, the designing, the assessing, the issuing, it's really designed in a way that is pretty easy to use. We do say that there's some limited technical requirements available or necessary to use it, and more just from an understanding of how APIs work and so forth. But we're super excited about what we have. We officially launched about a week and a half ago at the DML conference in Boston. And with this, we are launched in what we're calling private beta. And what that means is we are working with select partner organizations out the door that are really committed to kind of helping us take the next step to really implement it and test it out, provide us feedback, and really kind of help us shape the future of BadgeKit so that down the road it can be even more of a lightweight solution that can be used even by a wider variety of people. So you can go to badgekit.org and basically you can sign up for the private beta access. The BadgeKit team is basically looking through the different technical requirements that are needed to select who will be part of the partner access, and we'll be communicating on that with pretty much within the next week, I think. But in the meantime, we're going to take the tools for a test drive. Again, you can always go to badgekit.org to sign up, or you can always email us at badges@mozillafoundation.org for more information. And so I'll go over all that again, how to contact us at the end. But in the meantime, that's enough of me chatting. Matt, I would love for you to take over.
Sure. Thank you, Meg. And for those of you who just joined us, you have the opportunity to post your questions on GoToWebinar there, and Meg will monitor those and interrupt me if I've said anything that's confusing, or at the end we can field some of your questions. So I encourage you to do that throughout. So as you'll see in your screen share here, I'm going to go ahead and log into BadgeKit, and you'll notice that we're using Persona in order to manage authentication. You'll also notice when I jump into BadgeKit here that there are quite a few cats around, and that's because BadgeKit is it's an administrative tool. So this is a private space. So in this space, you see that we're doing here at Mozilla a lot of testing of features within the system, and also doing user testing to see how people would use the various features and whatnot. So you have an opportunity within BadgeKit in your own badge development to privately do this development before you actually share things with the public. The other thing to notice on this first screen here within BadgeKit is that I'm in this directory space, and what we see here is that I have a series of templates. So templates are a new feature that we're testing right now, and the idea is that you can not only create a badge, but you can create a badge template, which enables you to more quickly and easily create a sophisticated series of badges, say, around a similar content area. So you might have a template for all your science-related badges. Or you might have a series of templates that have to do with the types of badges that people might be earning. So you could have a template for participation badges, versus a template for badges that are more about, a deep dive on a particular skill. And we also, templates are a means for us to open up OpenBadges even further so that you can share the work between organizations, so that one organization is developing templates and maybe a whole series of other organizations are utilizing those templates and adapting them to create their own badges. So I'll just show you a few features here. You've got the ability to sort these templates or your draft badges in a number of different ways. So you can sort them by name. You can sort them by how many times that particular badge has been awarded, if it's a published badge, when it was created, and whatnot. Coming in here, looking at these are draft badges, so I can actually come back to a more interesting badge here. I'm going to jump to templates. Let's see here. So I'm going to view this template here, and you'll see we've got some of the metadata that's associated with this badge within the template itself. So we've got descriptions that are intended for the earners and a more technical description that could be used by the consumers of the badge. And we've got criteria down below. So again, I'm looking at a template here. So I could edit this template. Maybe after a year of using this template, we've decided we want to improve upon it. Or I could actually put the template to use, which will launch a new draft badge. So now in this space, I've got lots of opportunities to add metadata and various options. So I'm editing this badge here, and I'm just going to call this a copy. Got the usual items like the URL for an issuing organization, the descriptions that I just mentioned, tags so that people can more easily find your badges. We have a series of options. Some of these options haven't yet been implemented. Some of them are under testing. Some of them will be clear, and others will take a little bit of training to understand. So here we've got a field that we're playing with that allows you to sort of set the approximate amount of time an earner will take to complete a badge, again, so that they can have more information before they jump into a learning opportunity. We're looking into Creative Commons licensing of both templates and badges. And we've got claim codes, which aid the issuing of badges to large groups of people. Here we've got the space where we'll set the criteria on a badge. And we've broken this out so that you have an individual space for each criterion. We've also included the capacity so that you can not only draft the criteria that will be attached to the badge itself, but you're also able to add a note so that when a mentor or a reviewer is working with somebody around this badge, they might have some background information that'll support their work. This isn't yet implemented, but you'll have the capacity to have people apply for a badge and sort of set what types of evidence that you're looking for, whether that's a video, a URL link, or just some free and open text. And you can also specify whether or not a particular item is required or not. We've also given you the opportunity to link to some external documentation. So you might have a PDF rubric to aid your mentors and assessors. In BadgeKit, this is a feature coming soon, but we're introducing the idea of a milestone badge. A milestone badge enables you to create a series of badges that, when earned, trigger the issuing of a milestone badge so that we can sort of acknowledge some higher level development. The visuals. So BadgeKit also allows you to develop visuals for your badges. And there's two options for this. One option is that you can upload a visual. So you might design a badge using Photoshop or Illustrator, or you might use another existing tool that someone else has created to design badge visuals. And then you might just upload the image file to BadgeKit, and that's great. And then we are developing a simple tool for people to be able to develop badges, the visuals within BadgeKit. And we've aimed to keep this tool simple for non-designers to really guide them through the process of making attractive badges. I'm going to go ahead and exit this draft badge. You'll see we are now back into the directory where I can view my copy of this badge that created from a template. Sure, okay. So now under badges, you can see we've got spaces for these templates, for drafts, as well as the published badges. So after you've had some time to work with your colleagues to perfect the information in your badge, you can go ahead and publish it. And utilizing the API of BadgeKit, you can then display those badges on your site. So another thing to note is that the potential earners of these badges will come to your existing web tools in order to learn about these opportunities. But your website will talk to BadgeKit in order to display these badges. So as you publish and archive badges, that will automatically be updated on your site. We're developing extensive help documentation on BadgeKit and also on our other wikis. Let's see, we've got quite a few opportunities here for you to connect with other people, like on our Google group, to join the trainings and to get general support. But then we also have a series of tutorials we're developing, extensive API documentation, and even a glossary for people who are newer to badging and getting used to these various terms. I'm going to jump over here to one of the spaces where we do this collaboration. So this is in GitHub here. We maintain a wiki that sort of tracks some of the development of various features. And it is a space for developers where you can download the code and start to play with this yourself. But within this space, I want to show you the designs we've got for the assessment of badges. So this is it's been implemented, but is currently under testing within BadgeKit. So I want to show you these screens here. So there's a few new features that we're adding. So within this space, so I've jumped in here from this queue, and I see that there's a couple of different people that have applied for a shield of approval. I click on through, and now I see the individual application. I'm reminded of the description of the badge. So I have a sense of what somebody should be doing in order to earn this badge. And then I see their evidence here. So this person has uploaded 3 pieces of evidence. We've got a link, we've got some text and a picture, and I've got the capacity to comment on each of these bits of evidence so that when we issue the badge or decide to not issue the badge, we're giving people really deep and meaningful feedback on what they've done. On the next tab, I view the criteria of the badge again, and then I can specify whether or not someone has actually met that criteria. I can reference the rubric that I mentioned before. And we start to see up top here that the person has met or not met. We get an overview of whether or not they're on track to actually meet the requirements of this badge. Again, we can comment on the particular criterion so that we're giving more meaningful feedback to the person. And then to finish up this assessment of the badge, we have a chance to then give a more informal introduction to the feedback we're giving to the person. We see the note that we added at on the criteria and the evidence, and then some conclusions on how we think that they have done with this process, whether or not they should reapply for the badge before we finally issue it. Jumping back to BadgeKit here. Oops, come to the space. So here we have our published badges, and you can take a number of actions on these published badges. You can review applications, you can issue them by email, issue them by claim code, which is great for when you've got a large group of people in a physical space. And you can copy a badge. So if you've worked on a badge, you've issued a badge for a year, and next year you want to iterate on that and improve upon it, you can copy it as a new draft. And you can archive a badge. So when you archive a badge, that badge still exists. We can still confirm that somebody has earned it, but it's no longer available for issuing. So I think I've covered all the major pieces that I wanted to go through within this space. I'm sure that there's quite a few questions out there about these details, or maybe some broader questions about the API and how that connects with BadgeKit and your own tools. So I'll turn back to Meg here to give us a overview of some of the questions there.
Great, thanks, Matt. That was super helpful. It looks like we have 2 questions right now. One, is there any restriction on the URL of the issuing organization? Can anyone or any organization issue within the system?
That's a good question. My understanding is I don't believe that there's a restriction on that. I'd have to look at the specifications on for OpenBadges. I think that that would tell us. But within BadgeKit itself doesn't introduce any restrictions.
Great. And then when you copied a badge, just similar to what you just showed, does it copy all of the information about the badge and then allow you to edit it? Or how does that, can you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, so it will copy all of the fields that you see within this space. So we'll carry over the description, the options, the criteria. Um, it will only carry over the visuals if we're copying a template or a draft badge. Once a badge has been published, all of those visuals are compressed to a single image, so you won't be able to then edit those visuals. But other than that, all the information gets copied. With templates, as I mentioned before, you might decide to create a template that really focuses on criteria, and you might have another template that focuses more on visual stuff. And maybe both of those templates include the general descriptions that you're going to put on all of your badges. So you can sort of decide what you want to include and leave out.
Great, great. A few more questions coming in, and thanks, guys. Keep them coming. Does the assessment process mean that organizations cannot use their own site or organization's instruction and testing for allowing students to earn badges?
Yeah, that's a great question. So BadgeKit has been designed to be modular so that you can plug in your existing tools and only use the aspects of BadgeKit that you need for your work. So some people might use it strictly for designing and building badges, but they might have their own ways for doing assessment. And then through the API, you'll talk back and forth between BadgeKit and whatever other tools that you're using.
Great, and I think that answer also hits this question. So is it possible to bypass the application process and issue a badge to a user directly after they've completed actions on our site?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
most
same
definitely.
thing.
So
Okay.
yeah, so this is a little bit different here, but so you see within this action menu here, I can issue this badge by email or by claim code. So we might, if I'm going to meet with a group of people in person, and we're going to go through a series of activities, and I've decided that they've all earned it. After that, I can just go ahead and issue by email, and so we don't need to have this back and forth with an application because it's happening offline.
Great. And are there administrative tools or accounts so multiple users, devs, admins can work together on the admin side of things?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So I will show you what that is going to look like. So within this space, the BadgeKit is set up so that there is a system level, an issuer level, and programs within an issuer. So a system might be the city of Chicago, which is supporting a series of issuing organizations. So Chicago would be the system, and then the issuers would be the individual organizations, and then those organizations can have programs. There'll be administrators at each of those levels. So there'll be a system administrator, an issuer admin, and then contributors to the program. And our goal is, we're still, taking information from the community and doing some testing right now, but the idea is that you'll be able to give the contributors to the organization more granular control. So you might have some people that are in the system and are only able to assess badges, and you might have other people in the system who can only design and build badges. So that definitely you'll have more than one user account within this space.
Great, and that was a really good question. Thanks for asking. Looks like we have a few more. So can badge issuance be made automatic rather than manual when a student satisfies some criteria or assessment, say online instruction app?
Hmm. I can't give a complete answer to that question, but I think that you could get that on one of our tech calls. But as I understand it, you can trigger via the API however you want the earning of the badge. And I don't think that BadgeKit would include any restrictions that would require you to come into that space to then issue it. So I would think that
Great.
you can automate it, but I am more of a designer and front-end developer than a
Yeah.
developer.
Yes, absolutely. And that actually is a really good time for us to bring up the fact that we actually will be hosting a tech panel on the topic of building your own instance of BadgeKit and diving a little bit deeper to the technical aspects of BadgeKit with some of the front end and back end developers next Wednesday, March 26th. So, in the little chat area that you see in the control panel, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the Etherpad that has this information. Again, we will post this information on all of our channels and everything, but just as a heads up, if you have some more specific technical questions that don't necessarily get answered today, feel free to put that little note on your calendar to join us next Wednesday. And I'm pretty sure that the time for that is at 2 p.m. Eastern. So the information is all in that Etherpad that I put in the chat area. So looks like there's one more question. Can one organize different sets of badges to be available to different groups of learners, but all within the same site?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I believe the idea is, so as I mentioned, we've got program level things here. So a single issuing organization could have multiple programs. And I believe that the API would then allow you to display those badges in different spaces so that you could have, some intended for, young children, adults, whatnot.
Great. And I lied. There's two more that popped up. So, can badge issuance be made automatic rather than manual when a student satisfies some criteria or assessment, say online? You've got that, right?
Yeah, I think we
You too.
covered that one.
Gotcha. Sorry, that
Yep.
still snuck up into my list. So then, Matt, could you go back to the FAQ or the help section? Because we do have a question on, okay, so how do I get BadgeKit? And so just thought it would be good to walk through in the FAQ where it says, how do I sign up? And it talks about the two different ways that basically BadgeKit's available.
Mm-hmm. So where am I looking here? How can I sign up?
Yep.
Gotcha.
So basically, and I can cover this, is that there is a hosted version of BadgeKit right now that I mentioned earlier that's in private beta for the select partner organizations. You literally just go to badgekit.org to apply, and if your organization meets the technical requirements, you will receive a follow-up email with the information. I know that we definitely have had overwhelming response so far on BadgeKit. We have had, I think we're at the point where we're up to about 270 organizations that have signed up. So I know that the team is going through and really trying to go through the partner organizations and find which will kind of match for the first round. Also, if you click on the question, how are you selecting partners, Matt, for the hosted version? Right now it's based on the technical requirements. And so, yep, right above it, what are the technical requirements? The biggest thing that we're looking for is that you have a front end website and resources to develop one, that you have technical resources on staff to integrate, and that they understand the APIs and how that would work, and that you're intended to build or roll out a badge system in 2014. So, again, go ahead and sign up for access if you're looking for the hosted version, and then more information will be circulated to you. I also just wanted to let you know that all the code, and very much in true with Mozilla style, all the code is also available in GitHub. So if you're not looking for the hosted version, rather you are just looking for the actual code to the individual tools that you can take and implement on your own, that is all available in GitHub that you can go and take at any point. And then I also think it's worth mentioning that with Mozilla and everything, that BadgeKit actually is free to use. That again, you can go and grab it, and then even being part of the private access is also free access. So with that, it looks like we have, I'm going to take one more question from the technical side. And Matt, let's see if we can tackle this one. Is the single sign-on possible, aka using an existing sign-on system to access BadgeKit in a backpack without having to enter multiple logins?
Read the second part again. The
Sure.
backpack.
Yeah, so to access to BadgeKit
Gotcha.
and a backpack without having to enter multiple logins.
I see. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think that I can answer that question.
Okay.
I know that there's been interest in that, and I'm not sure how those conversations have evolved.
Great. So I would encourage for that question to join us on the tech panel. Otherwise, we can take the conversation offline to email. So we could follow up via email. And also, I think it's worth saying that we've had a very nice message posted in the question section commending you, Matt, on this demo and how beneficial it was, and just overall the progress of work that's been put into this, and then how the experience is really coming out smooth and just a good overall solution for organizations that it's applicable. So thank you, Scott, for that really nice message, and Matt, thank you again for doing such a great demo.
Sure. Great. Thank you so much.
So with that, I'm just going to pause for just one more minute and see if anybody else has any other questions. Feel free to use the question box. And in the meantime, while those questions are stewing, again, I invite you to join us on March 26th. Check out the Etherpad. The tech panel is in a very informal environment. We do it in our video room. So you'll see a link to that video room. No RSVP necessary. Simple click on that link at the time of the start of the panel, and you will be all set. It is a live, basically, video, so people will be on video if you want and have a chance to talk with some of our developers. And as always, we will keep you updated via our Google Group channels and our community calls. All of that information is also available on the BadgeKit help page. That you can see other ways to get in touch with us. And as always, we are here to take your questions and pretty much help you throughout this. And we thank you for your continued support. We are basically as good as our community, and we are very, very proud and happy to have such a great community that supports us. So thank you, and we will be circulating the recording by tomorrow to your email. So with that, thanks again, Matt, and we look forward to seeing some of you on our future community calls and panels.